What a day at the Open. My goodness, what drama we have had. I watched two 62s today. I watched Lucas Herbert absolutely go off. I watched two shots of Sam Burns in his 62. Unbelievable bunker shot on 18 to match the 62. I mean, and then, of course, we're going to talk about Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, look, this guy has taken a beating from Brandel Chambly, from Nick Faldo to come out in round one and finish two shots out of the lead. And then back that up with a 66 today was unbelievable until the RNA got involved. And we're going to talk about the situation with Bryson. Should it have been just for Bryson to get a two-stroke penalty on the fifth hole? I watched it live. I watched every hole that Bryson played. And, I mean, look, let's just be honest. Everywhere he goes, he is either criticized or praised. He's a YouTube star. You look on the YouTube aspect of his career, he's been unbelievable. He's probably the single most influential figure to grow the game, both on the course and off the course. But then you get him on the course, and look, I'm a Bryson guy. Of course, I've got, the Bryson gear on. But at the end of the day, look, he is an absolute polarizing figure. We go back to the fifth hole. It's a 328-yard par four, dogleg right, and Bryson was just going to go for it. Drive the green. Why not? I mean, you just go do it. It does dogleg right, and then there's a pond on the right-hand side, short of the green. And then beyond the pond, there is this high fescue. Now, I thought that this area that Bryson hit it into was a red hazard. And some of the officials went over there. Bryson obviously sliced the crap out of his ball, went into this fescue area, and he hit a provisional, and he yanked it left. And the officials actually found Bryson's golf ball. Now, look, I've played in link-style conditions overseas. I've played in Scotland. I've played in this stuff in dried-out conditions. And it's very wispy, a lot of hay. And when you hit out of it, you actually got to kind of play it like you're hitting out of pine straw. And then it's all trampled down sometimes, and it's caked up, and your ball does certain things in this stuff. And then you got to kind of figure this out. Now, look, I've played tournament golf all of my life. I'm a pretty decent golfer. So trust me when I'm telling you all this about the rules of golf. I've been on rules committees and such. And this one is, I think, going to be a stretch. Again, I'm a fan of Bryson. I can see it both ways, but I'm going to take a hard stance here. And I'm going to explain to you what my thoughts are on what the rules should be for Bryson DeChambeau. Now, look, it was unfortunate, honestly, he found his ball. He would have been better off going and playing his provisional. He could have got bogey just playing his provisional, but they did find his ball. His ball was tucked under tufts of this wispy grass. And if you look at the area that Bryson was hitting out of, the rules officials and the volunteers were actually trampling down this entire area. There was a camera guy that was looking at Bryson down line, like kind of in his face. So the camera guys, Bryson himself, his caddy, and the officials were all in this area. And you can tell when he gets to his ball, it's all trampled down. Now, my question is this, did his ball, when they found his ball, is it the same lie that they found his ball? Did his ball move in that lie? We don't know. We don't know what happened with this golf ball. They could have trampled it down or, accidentally stepped on the ball. Who knows, what exactly happened with this golf ball. But it was not a great lie by any means. And when you're around that thick stuff, typically you just don't have great lies. Now, Bryson approaches his golf ball, doesn't have a club in hand. Bryson, as a player, it's not in a hazard. I just want to express that. It is not in a hazard. As a player, you have the option to go back behind the golf ball and look at your line of sight. You can do that as long as you don't disturb the area around where it was. Now, look, it was very interesting to me when Bryson took a step back. There's a tuft of grass, a little mound of grass, or this wispy fescue that was already kind of laying down. Now, and there was 2 spots in between this mound of grass that was perceived to be in his backswing that gave him the 2-stroke penalty, but it was kind of open. And it seemed like to me some of the officials or somebody was already in that area before Bryson got there. Now, Bryson went around his golf ball. Now, look, you ever played into this wispy stuff? It's like playing on hay or playing on, again, pine needles. You've got to be careful because if you walk around this area and your ball moves, you're assessed a penalty. So Bryson went to the extent and lift up his legs and make sure that he was getting in and out of that area to make sure that that specific area where his ball was not being disturbed because, again, the ball could have been up on some grass, and if that slight movement of that grass bouncing up and down could cause your ball to roll, could cause your ball to move, and then he'll be assessed a 1-stroke penalty for having his ball moved. He got to replace the ball where it was originally at. It's just a big nightmare. So, but again, as a golfer, and if you look at Graham McDowell posted this on Twitter, the player can go behind the ball and look at his sight line, from where he's going to hit the ball to the green or wherever his shot's going to be. And Bryson did that. Now, look, I'm going to be straight up with you. The stomping of the feet behind the golf ball didn't look good. I mean, it just didn't look good, right? And then, going behind the golf ball again with the club in hand, stepping on that mound of tough grass and, going back, into that little space, coming back over. Now, looking at this again, I've looked at this about 10 times. He was in this little area that was already cleared out. And then that same mound of grass that was laid over a little bit, there's nowhere for him to walk other than that corner of that mound of grass to his stance because the golf ball was in front of that mound of grass. And again, if he gets anywhere close, let's say, about a foot around that area where his lie was, his ball could literally move because all the grass is kind of intertwined together. And any steps anywhere around that golf ball is going to move. So he stepped on that tuft of grass and then took his position. And you could see him because it's not a hazard. He's allowed to make practice swings, not chewing up a bunch of grass and stuff, but he's allowed to make practice swings. But you could tell he was doing this arm motion. He was getting his motion to where he knew he had to come down on that golf ball. And I thought Smiley Kaufman did a great job on Golf Channel talking about, basically, Bryson's irons are all the same length. His wedge is the same as his 7-iron, and it's a longer club. And because of that, listen, if you have to go, to the left, look, there was a tree that was in front of him. He knew he had to go a little left of where the green was to get a better, to get anywhere close to the green. But the way the ball was sitting down in that sandy lie with the grass, you have to come down hard. You have to come down steep. There's no way he's going to be able to take a full elongated backswing and come down and drop it down in the slot and then be able to get it out. No, there's no way. The line did not call for that shot. It was an up and down, steep swing. And Bryson's whole thing is the swing that I made towards that golf ball, the grass that behind me had no impact. Now, look, the RNA made a decision because of him stepping behind that grass and it was laid over, that because of the grass was laid over, it was easier for him to swing. Obviously, he improved his lie because it was easier for him to swing without the club hitting the fescue behind him. Now, the way the rules of golf is typically the benefit of the doubt is given to the golfer. But in this case, the RNA deemed it to protect the field, which I completely understand. Listen, again, the rules of golf and the ruling body agencies, RNA and USGA, do a very good job. I mean, they really do. But here's where I have a problem. It has been known that a viewer called in to the RNA and had the RNA officials looking at this and basically created this whole investigation to begin with. I don't think a fan or anybody should be able to call into the ruling body and be able to start this investigation. Okay. Um, and obviously Scotty and Terrell Hatton was playing with Bryson at the time. They didn't see what was going on. I mean, they're 60 yards ahead of them and, all that stuff. And, they didn't really take a look at exactly what was all going on with Bryson and his caddy. But usually the benefit of doubt is given to the player as long as he can explain himself. They took Bryson out back to the spot. You could see what he was trying to do. He's very animated, very upset what was going on. And he was trying to explain to him that, to them that obviously the swing path that he was making, the back grass had no impact, would not have impact, even if the grass was up. And I agree with him. I agree with him. Looking at this again, several different times, I agree with Bryson that swing path and the way he had to come down steep on the ball, that grass behind him had no impact on the shot. But the RNA decided against him. And I think it's more for Bryson. It's a culmination of things. Again, look, you could sit there and say, look, obviously Bradel Chamblee can't stand him. The whole live golf thing, the whole Nick Faldo thing. He's missed 3 cuts in majors here this year. He's obviously vying for, at that point where he thought he was going to try to get momentum get into the lead. I mean, there's a lot of things going on here. When we get ready to sign a scorecard, the RNA comes up to him as a player, and this actually happened to me, in a tournament. You think that you're on top of the world, and then next thing you know, you get a rules official on you, and you're like, okay, what's going on here? I mean, you go from the high of highs and being now 1 shot out of the lead in a major which a major you really don't do well in. And then next thing you know, you're sitting in a freaking trailer trying to explain yourself, and then you get docked a 2-stroke penalty. And here's another thing, too. I did not like Bryson and the way he carried himself on the golf course when they took him out to the 5th hole, and he's got his hands like this, and he's like, well, I just won't play tomorrow. That is not an option. I'm sorry. Just like Mike Singletary would say, I want winners, I want winners. And Bryson, although I'm a fan, that absolutely looked horrible. But at the end of the day, look, here's the thing. You can't change the fact that you were docked this 2-stroke penalty. You kind of have to just swallow it. I mean, it is what it is at this point. Bryson did tweet this very thing. I disagree with the ruling. It is what it is. On to the weekend, and this is going to motivate me. Well, you should have had that attitude right then and there, and not, just throw this temper tantrum. Now, the player does have the option to make the accuser prove with them with video, going out to the site, going through the investigative process, hearing the player out, which Bryson has every opportunity and right to do, and I think he did it. But, and you have to fight. It's people's livelihoods. It's a freaking major. It's the Open. You have to do everything you can as a player to tell your side of the story and not be assessed that penalty if you think you're in the right. But the RNA does have to protect the field. The RNA has to protect, obviously, the Open. They are the ruling body over the tournament, and they've been doing this a long time. So, Bryson, you get hit with 2 strokes. Now, look, this is going to be some juice tomorrow. Now, I mean, there's going to be a ton of people drawn to the screen at 10:30 a.m. with Sam Burns watching Bryson DeChambeau play golf. And that's what Bryson does. That's what Bryson does. Whether you like him or not, performative or not, Bryson DeChambeau is going to bring eyeballs to the TV screens on a Saturday and Sunday to see what he can do. I hope Bryson takes this, does motivate him, and he wins this damn golf tournament. Let's go, Bryson. I mean, seriously. You've got the Bryson haters out there, and then you've got guys like me who respect this game. I respect this game. I respect the fact that he just doesn't get into the cycle of just this normal rigmarole of golfers, that just are just boring. Bryson's not boring. I mean, for God's sake, he 3D printed his freaking irons to go play this tournament. But Bryson DeChambeau is going to be, I mean, just cinema this weekend. You might see him get an 8 on the hole, or you might see him eagle the hole. You never know with Bryson, and that's why I love just what's going on. It's drama. It's drama. You thought it was boring. I thought it was boring the first 2 rounds. I mean, the first round until we have Bryson DeChambeau, and here we go. It's going to be absolute cinema. Let me know your thoughts. Hear me out. Do you think Bryson should have been given the 2-stroke penalty? Why or why not? Have a good night. We'll see you soon.